Well, good afternoon and welcome to the Alaska Report, or perhaps there in Alaska it might be good morning to you. We haven't done an Alaska Report for some time. I think the last one that we were able to join Alaska viewers was about a year ago, when we had a fine group of young Alaskans from around the state who are part of my summer internship program. So we're back again this year, 2018, with a stunning class of young Alaskans from around the state who have been with me for the month of June. 10 students from everywhere from Kaktovik to Kodiak to points in between. And they have been following me as part of my day. A couple interns every day get to shadow me. And the rest of the time they're working on projects, they're helping staff out, they are engaging in the daily ins and outs of life in the United States Senate. They have an opportunity to live here in our nation's capital, learn and explore the extraordinary history that goes on, but an exceptional growing opportunity for these young Alaskans. It's something that I was able to take advantage of when Senator Stevens was in the Senate and I was his just recently graduated high school intern. So it's an experience that I have never forgotten, and as a consequence like to continue that these many years later. So I'd like to introduce you to this group of interns. They are usually the ones that have to listen to others ask the questions. So this is their opportunity to ask me a question. So we're going to start down here with Caitlin. And Caitlin is from Chugiak. She will introduce herself, but ask a question. We'll just go right down the line and spend some time folks getting to know you, and I get to field your questions on the hot seat. So Caitlin, why don't you go ahead and kick it off?
So hi, my name is Caitlin Toth and I'm from Chugiak, and before I ask my question today, Senator, I just wanted to, on behalf of all of your interns here, express our most sincere gratitude and say thank you for having us this summer. And it's been an eye-opening experience for all of us, and since you've continued and transformed this program since, like you mentioned with the late Senator Ted Stevens, we've really appreciated our time here in the Capitol and the time you've spent with each and every one of us. So thank you.
Know that is mutual.
Thank you.
You just changed the dynamic throughout the office, all for the good. So thank you for that.
On to my question. Since the Senate is such a busy and demanding profession, how do you go about balancing your work life and your home life?
It's hard. It's hard. You only have so many hours in any given day, and everything's important. Everything is a priority. You've been following me. Everybody has an issue that needs to be dealt with right here, right now. We've got hearings that need to be done, constituent meetings, but at the end of the day, there's more for me because I have a backpack full of homework. You've seen it, and I bring it in the morning. We go through it. These are very long days, these are demanding days, and they don't leave a lot of time for extracurricular, for hobbies, or for your family, and that's hard. That's a challenge, and so it's important that you set some parameters. It's good for me when I am home in Alaska to be able to have a day where I can just be outside. Maybe it's riding a bike, maybe it's hiking, maybe it's just walking around, getting out in the garden, picking berries, but I need to have my connect back home. That helps a lot. It's tough to get those sometimes. When I'm here in Washington, D.C., there's not a lot of time for things like reading a book or just kind of relaxing. But the one thing that I do make a point to do is I will sit down to have dinner with my husband. If my boys are in town, to sit with them, but to just make sure that there is that 1 hour where you can sit and just kind of talk about the day. So it doesn't sound like it's much of a balance, but you take what you can get. This is a busy job, an important job, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to serve.
Hello, my name is Yahaira. I'm from Klawock. Just wanted to ask, what is your least favorite part about being a senator?
Well, Yahira, you have been with me. You've seen that there's a lot of energy, a lot of just dynamic issues every day. I love that part of it. I love the fact that there's so much that you have to keep on top of. I think that keeps you sharp. The worst part of it, really, is the distance. As you know, you're 4-hour time difference from your family in Kloak. So you get done from work, you go out, you're tired, you want to go to sleep, but it's just dinner time back home, and you're thinking, I want to call home. Can I call home? Distance is hard. And that geographic separation that we have, thousands of miles, a full day of travel to get back and forth, and that travel is wearing. And so I have yet to find the quickest way. I mean, if I could be closer because there's some kind of teleporter that's going to get me home quicker, that would make the job a lot easier. But it's important to go home. It's important to have that connection back in the state. And so you want to be there, but the travel is the hardest part. That's the hardest part for me. It's important, but it's hard. Thank you for being part of our internship, Yahira. Thank you. Joseph.
Hi, I'm Joseph, and I'm from Juneau. Views from the Republican Party differ from senator to senator. You have some that are far right and others that are more moderate, such as yourself. What are the challenges of working in an environment such as that? And what are the potential consequences, I would say, of potentially voting against your party on some issues? And is there a strategy behind that as well sometimes?
Well, for me, coming from a state like Alaska, where we're a very conservative state, but we're also a very broad-minded state. We're very libertarian in many of our views, so there's such a mix in Alaska. And so I recognize that, yes, I am a member of the Republican Party. That's my caucus. But I also have a constituency that is very broad and very diverse, and I need to answer to all of my constituents. And so it's important that I listen to all of those views and that those views feel that they are represented back here in Washington, D.C. It's not easy. It is not easy. But I feel that that is my responsibility as a representative from a state like Alaska, again, that has the level of diversity that we have. Insofar as whether you vote with your party, against your party, as long as you are voting in a way that you feel most accurately represents the interests of your state, that to me should be the priority. And I know that might unsettle some who say, well, you're a Republican, so you must vote Republican all the time. Well, sometimes the party's specific platforms don't necessarily align 100% with your state. And so I'm pretty much going to look to what the impact is on my constituents, on the people that I represent in Alaska. So you follow your true north that way. Thank you. Emma.
Good afternoon, Senator, or good morning in Alaska. My name's Emma Ashlock, and I'm from Anchorage, Alaska, and I just graduated from East High. And my question relates to the seasons in Alaska. Our seasons are so different, and they allow for a lot of different activities and different events to occur. And so my question is, what is your favorite season in Alaska?
My favorite season. Okay, just stating, I love them all. Fall is too short, though.
Yeah.
Way too short. I like to go out duck hunting in the fall, but it seems like it's just a blip, and winter is already upon us. Spring, I just want to race through real quickly because I want to get to summer, I want to get to fishing and hiking and camping and biking. But I will tell you, I am a winter person. I love to ski, I love the outdoors, I love it when it's cold. I think about Alaska and our winter opportunities, and it stuns me that this is the time of year when we have the fewest tourists of all. I think we are at our most beautiful when the mountains are covered with snow. We think about what happens in Anchorage, for instance, during the Iditarod, the carnival atmosphere, everybody being outside. You're out cross-country skiing, downhill skiing, snow machining, dog mushing, just walking around. I guess the answer to your question is winter. True Alaska. Sheldon.
Hello, Senator. My name is Sheldon Trout. I'm from Kodiak. And my question to you is, what do you think the Alaska economy will rely on when oil is no longer a viable option for energy?
Well, I believe that oil will long into the future be part of Alaska's future. I am one who is focusing on how we are able to not only access Alaska's natural resources, but how from an energy space we really utilize all of our assets. I believe that we will be moving our transportation sector off of oil. Some might say, oh, well, then if you do that, you don't need Alaska's oil. You don't need the world's oil. That is not an accurate statement. Think about the many uses of oil, of petroleum, in our clothing, in your lipstick, in your glasses, in all of the equipment for lubrication. The uses of petroleum are just so many we can't even begin to think about them. So I recognize that we have a resource that the country will need and the world will need. So what I challenge us to do is how do we extract our non-renewable resources in a way that is smart, that is environmentally friendly, and that recognizes, again, the potential for jobs and economic assist that they can bring. So I look to the many things that Alaska has to offer, whether it is, again, our renewable or our non-renewable resources. But I also look to the other sectors that are a mainstay for Alaska. Tourism, we're always going to be beautiful. We're going to make sure we're always beautiful so others want to come to us. But I think that we can play a greater role in commerce and hubs of activity. You look at the role that the Ted Stevens International Airport plays in terms of cargo. We're the crossroads, really, of the north there. Think about it from a maritime shipping perspective as we see the Arctic open up. So our opportunities are just growing. And I think the more we are able to invest in infrastructure such as broadband, such as infrastructure for shipping and other ways of commerce to move around, Alaska, again, our advantage remains the same. Where do we sit on the globe? Right in the center. Right in the center. That's always going to be an advantage for us, so we capitalize on that. It's a good question. Thanks, Sheldon. William.
Hello, my name is William Lee. I'm from Anchorage and I attended West High School. So on our first day here, you mentioned that in the fast-paced world of technology, where the capability to broadcast our thoughts and opinions lies at our fingertips, it is rare to hear words or opinions that are worthy of being carved into stone. Do you think you have any words or ideas that are worthy of being carved into stone?
Well, William, that is a thoughtful question and an extraordinarily difficult one, because as we look to the extraordinary words that are inscribed in these buildings around our nation's capital, whether it's over in the Library of Congress, here in the Congress itself, on the post office building, on Union Station, it's everywhere. And you think that these words of really wisdom that go so far beyond the time which they were said, much less written. And I kind of challenged you in that. I said, look at the words and think about what you might put up there. I don't know that I feel that I have something that is so significant, so timeless. And I guess kind of speaking impromptu here, if there were words that I would want to see going forward inscribed, they would be words that remind us that civility and respect for one another is truly a hallmark of this nation. We didn't always start out with everyone in agreement, and there were debates that were difficult and hard and contentious. But somehow, some way, you work through that, and you do so when you show respect for views and opinions from those that you may differ with, in an effort to learn from them. And sometimes that's very, very hard to do. So the civility side of the conversation is so very important. So I'm going to have to think through your challenge and exactly what I would put, but I think I'm going to frame it in the context of respect and civility. It's a great challenge. I'm sure you have learned a lot as you've been going around our nation's capital. Great to have you here. Thank you. Connor.
My name is Connor Bass-Jenigo. I'm from Anchorage, Alaska, and I graduated from Diamond High School. As a mother, you understand how important it is to know that your children are safe, and you are known to be able to work across the aisle with Democrats. What is a consensus you and the Republican Party could come to work together on gun control?
It is an issue that is so important to our nation's conversation right now in the sense of safety. Safety. As a parent, you want to know that your children are safe. As a lawmaker, I want to know that Americans are safe. We have, as part of who we are as Americans, have a constitutional amendment, the Second Amendment, that assigns those rights to have the ability to provide for our own protection and that of our families, something that I take very, very seriously. I believe that the debates, the discussions that we have had in the past several years as a consequence of some of the violence that we have seen, the tragedy that we have seen in our schools, a place where we all want to believe that young people, the students, the teachers, the administrators, that there's a level of safety there. And it's been demonstrated that there is not. And so coming together, whether you're Republicans or Democrats, urban or rural, those from places like Alaska, we know guns. Guns are in our homes, we hunt with them, we provide for our families. It's a little bit different back here on the East Coast where you have perhaps a different viewpoint. So going back to a respect for where individuals come from when it comes to a discussion about guns and gun control. Are there areas that we can and should come together? Yes. I think that we need to have a background system that is good and thorough and complete. And in fairness, we have not done what I think most Americans believe has been done with our background check system. I believe that there is more that we can do to make sure that within the schools themselves there is a level of safety and security. I think that there are also ways that we can work to ensure that these weapons are secured safely. And we've had big discussions about whether it's child locks or just mechanisms to ensure that a gun does not get in the hands of someone that should not gain access to it. I think that there is so much more that we have to do when it comes to the mental health side of this discussion and recognizing that there are certain individuals who, because of mental health issues or because they've had a background of violence in the past, that there are limitations, absolutely necessary limitations that should be put in place. So there is much more, I think, that we can do to put in place laws and protective mechanisms to ensure that our children are safe, our families are safe, our schools are safe. And it requires not just Republicans to fix it, not just Democrats, but all of us coming together to make a difference. It's a very important issue. Thanks, Connor.
Hello, Senator. My name is Jon Gosselin. I'm from Soldotna, Alaska. I was just wondering, when you have the opportunity, what is your favorite activity to do when you get home to Alaska?
So it depends on the time of year. Emma was just asking me, winter, spring, summer, fall. If it's winter, it's outdoors. It's skiing is probably my greatest passion in the wintertime. In the summer, I'm a pretty serious fisherman. I think you've seen my fish pictures. You've seen my fish on the wall. I take my fishing very seriously. But I like to get out and hike and bike. I don't have enough time to do the camping like we used to do, but I enjoy that part of it. I'm pretty much an outdoor person, though. You all have shadowed me. You know that I like to walk, and I like to walk fast, not afraid of stairs. I take that home with me as well and get out and about in Alaska. There's just so many great places to explore back home, and I love showing it off to visitors. So you'll see me out and about.
Hi.
Allison.
I'm Allison from Nuxit, and my question is, what is your plan to ensure that Alaskan and Alaskan natives get the safest and the best deal out of the opening of ANWR?
Well, Allison, Nuiqsut is not in the 1002 area, but you are certainly in the North Slope. Your community has seen the impact of development on Alaska's North Slope. Certainly, the benefits that oil can bring from the resources that come to our state. It helps our schools. It helps with public safety. It helps to just enhance the quality of life. But it is also a level of activity that can have intrusions on a subsistence lifestyle. And so making sure that as we develop our resources, whether it's on the North Slope or really anywhere around our state, that we do so with a care and concern for the environment. You know that this time of year, that tundra is alive. It is just blossoming, but it's also very fragile in the sense that you just can't take a vehicle over the tundra. You would ruin that tundra. So making sure that when we explore, when we're producing, we're doing so with, again, a sensitivity to what is happening around us. Let's make sure that we are working within the regulations, working within the laws. Again, protect the environment, ensure that the subsistence lifestyle is allowed to continue, whether it is the hunt for the bowhead whale or for the caribou that you require for sustenance, making sure that the voices of the people are heard in a very open and a very collaborative way that gives voice to the concerns. You are the ones who are living up north, so we must, those who wish to develop in that area, must do so with a care and a concern and a not a willingness, but working with the people of the north, working with the Inupiaq, working with the residents on the North Slope Borough. So this is something that I take very seriously because I know that we have extraordinary resource, but I also know that the people who have lived there for thousands of years also wish to continue to live there in a lifestyle that is improved. Most notably, you want to have the schools, you want to have the internet, you want to have public safety, but you also have such a deep connection to the land that we must respect the land and the resources and the people. So thank you for being a great voice for the Arctic. It's been good to have you here.
Hi,
right, Vince.
Senator. My name is Vince Stanborough from Ketchikan. And my question was, how has growing up in Ketchikan and communities throughout Alaska helped you as a career as a senator? And how did it foster you as a senator?
Well, first I have to confess that I didn't really grow up in Ketchikan. I was born there. My parents they both grew up there. But my dad was in the Coast Guard when I was very young, and he was stationed in Ketchikan at the time. He'd been stationed in Sitka before. And so I get to call Ketchikan my birthplace, and I'm happy to do so. I love Ketchikan. Still have family that live there. But we moved a lot. My dad got out of the Coast Guard, and he was a branch manager for a bank, and so we moved a lot. We were in Wrangell for several years, another small islanded community in Southeast, and then we moved up. We moved to the big city of Juneau, where Joseph is from, and had that experience. Again, a community that is isolated from the rest of the state. We moved to Anchorage next, and my sister was at West, I was at Romig, and then we moved up to Fairbanks. And that's where I went to high school. What that allowed me to do was to gain a perspective of some of the different regions of the state, from southeast to south central to the interior, and to really understand so much of what happens in each area. I wish that I could say that I had lived out in the Aleutians and Kodiak. My sister did both of those places in addition to where we had grown up. So I always say, wow, you've got a much better perspective of the world. Not having lived up in the north, in the high north, I like to spend time up there so that I can learn more about the people, the culture, the issues, the concerns, and the real opportunities there. So I think that living in so many different places has really helped me understand Alaska. But I also think coming from small communities, often that are isolated, it really gives you a sense of what community in Alaska is all about. And that is a unique perspective that I think has made me just a better person. I so value the growing up that I had in this extraordinary state, and it all began in your hometown of Ketchikan. So, well, thank you for great questions all over the board here. I appreciate that, and just know how much I have appreciated getting to know each and every one of you. These 4 weeks go by way too quick, and you're going to be going off to college or other career opportunities. I know that you will go off and do great things, but it's always a pleasure for me to be able to introduce to Alaskan viewers the great young people that we have from all around our state. I am just extraordinarily lucky to have you. So thank you for sharing some of your summer with us. Thank you for working on behalf of the people of the state of Alaska, because you too have been a public servant in this past month, and I hope you go forward with a servant's heart and continue to do good things for so many. And for our viewers that have stuck with us, thank you. I hope you have enjoyed getting to know these young people as I have as well. We will have a second episode of the Alaska Report with our second session of 2018 Summer Interns. So stay tuned for that one. Until then, we bid you adieu and have a great summer.